This episode of the Leading Me Legendary podcast is brought to you by Vinyl Me Please. Join their Record of the Month club at www.joinvmp.com/LABL. Check. Y'all tuned in to another episode of the Leading Me Legendary podcast. I am your host, name tag Alexander. Y'all can catch us on social media at LABL Music on both Instagram and Twitter. The website also is leadingmelegendary.net. Can't forget that. On Facebook, same thing, Leading Me Legendary. Y'all can catch me on there at name tag ALXNDR on Twitter. Just at name tag Alexander on Instagram, and as well name tag Alexander on Facebook. This time around, you know what? Before we get into it, I always forget this because people always say, where else can we hear the podcast at besides SoundCloud? It's on Apple Podcasts. I got it on Stitcher now. Trying to get it on Spotify. It should be in the works. Google Play Music. It should be there now, actually, if you got the Google Play app. Where else? I want to say Radio Public, and also I'm thinking Mixcloud. That's another one where you can check out the podcast at. We're going to jump right into it. We got a very, very, very special guest on here. This episode is supposed to been happen. It really should have. This is the one. I've been waiting on. Go ahead, man. You know what? Go ahead and introduce yourself, man. Let the people know who we got on.
Oh, yeah, Curve Gotti, man, From Scratch. You can follow me on the Twitter at Curve, CURV Gotti. And, yeah, I'm just, a fellow podcaster, long-time listener, first-time guest.
Yes, cause I've been sitting back. I was like, you know what? I gotta have him on because we ain't heard from Scratch in a minute, man. I don't know what's going on, man. What's going on? What happened here?
Just scheduling, man. My partner in From Scratch, Justin, he had twins.
Yeah, that's right.
So just like that, and then Audio Wave is growing, so.
Absolutely.
Just kind of getting in the studio and getting time to like coordinate was more of a hurdle, but it's not over. We'll be back 2018. Just got to figure some stuff out, let some things settle. The twins are a little bigger now.
Word.
We got a little more flexibility coming, so.
Cause you had a set day, like we dropping on, what was it, Mondays? You went from Wednesdays to Mondays? And then it just is like, what happened? You ain't dropping no more.
Yeah, and then it was just trying to do the guest thing, man. It was that's another hurdle barrier in trying to schedule stuff. So it's not just like it's myself. It's like my schedule, Justin's schedule, the guest schedule, and then the studio schedule. So
that's
it's
true.
like musical chairs. I'm trying to figure stuff out because we were doing stuff at like a certain date and time, but. It just got kind of like everybody else's schedule was shift because we had one slot that was pretty much open all the
Word.
And then like other people on the network schedules was like, yeah, this, and then it became scheduling, and then they just got in there first, but it was all good. So
because they getting deep over there. You definitely growing the network.
Yeah, man. So. It's good problems, but it was just stuff we had to figure out, and just trying to really figure out. Like it was time to restructure the direction of the show, just from not being so guest driven, just because that became more of a nuisance than the benefit in doing it. So just
I can attest to that because that's a pocket. Because I was kicking it with this about DDT the other day. Like that's a pocket that I'm still trying to figure out. Like, do I want to keep it guest based, or what I'm saying? I should be able to cook and do this on my own too without guests all the time. Like I might have a rant that I want to go on about, but I'm like, it got to be organic. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to just force nothing at the end of the day. And if the guests that I'm having on, I want it to be guests that I'm. You know what I'm saying? And I'm kind of following at the same time, not just let's get so-and-so because they're going to drive numbers. You know what I'm saying? So I'm still kind of in that pocket trying to figure it out. So speaking of From Scratch, like, how did this exactly come about? Like, how did you, because this, obviously I was following y'all before it jumped to the network.
We got into it. We started on SoundCloud, and like 14.
Okay.
And that was just really just like picking up some mics, plugging into the MacBook and just like kind of going and getting started. Like we just turned it on. Like the first episode you will hear Orange is the New Black in the background. Like we was in just like in the basement recording. Like early on we was recording out the garage and like all of this stuff. But we just kind of just picked it up and just kind of go. We didn't have a plan. We didn't know. Like we had an idea what we wanted it to be and how we wanted it to go. But then that was it. So we were just like learning on the job. And then from like interviewing, like having people on, we knew we wanted to do guests. So we were inspired by like the Combat Jack show.
Right.
So R.I.P. Reggie Osei.
Definitely.
Combat Jack. And so he was the reason like we kind of started it. And so like our goal was to have, we named it from scratch because that's how you start everything and it's from the beginning. And we wanted our guests to come on and share their story, still inspire others to do whatever it is that they did or what they wanted to do, but just kind of spread that inspiration.
Word.
And then just kind of have it go. So like, and that was like July 2014 that we cracked the mics on.
Okay.
And then like we interviewed Low Sport, and like he was doing stuff over at Oso Radio, and then like we had Randy on, and so that's how like that relationship happened there. And also it was just replaying like episodes we already recorded.
Oh, okay.
So we hadn't even did. It was just using it like it was a relationship to like fill up airtime over there, and then also just kind of repurpose our episodes. And so that's what that relationship was. And so we were still always kind of moving independently. And then like we had went on our first hiatus. So at that time, like the laptop went down.
Oh, damn.
Justin was finishing up law school. And so the scheduling, like, again, it just was like our scheduling just like wasn't going to work out.
Right.
More or less, especially like with guests, just because, like trying to put everything together with that and other people. And then like he was in East Lansing too. So it just didn't.
Oh, yeah. That's,
yeah. So, we were chilling out. And then, like we still talked about doing it and wanting to do it. And then it was like one of my coworkers was friends with JG.
Okay.
And so, and I might have talked to you about, I can't remember. So at one point in time, I had wanted to start a network, not really understanding what a network entailed and everything that it had to do. But I wanted to just kind of support everybody, putting all our podcasts together in a group and just kind of like using our networks to share and spread everybody. It was my goal. But it just fizzled out. Like I didn't have like as much fire behind it that I needed to start it up. And so Orlando introduced me to JG. And so like we met up on a Friday night. I think it was like Black Friday actually. And then we we're just talking, just like, yo, like I sent him links and it's like, it just worked out. Like he was looking for people. It was a studio, which was totally different from us operating everything and doing everything. So it just gave us the freedom to,
just go in and record.
Yep. Just kind of just let him plug in, do it. We leave, he sends it over and all that stuff. And it was a location that we could share with people.
Right.
Like I said before, like we was in the garage and everywhere. We was meeting people. I was recording out of my old job. Like I was getting in on the weekends and recording there, having people come in and sign in there, just to kind of, once we were doing more than like our friends.
Nah, so, exactly. Trust me, I know, because I'm to that point where I'm like, man, you know what? I got people in mind that I want to have on, but I'm like, it just seemed more official. Like you don't have to have a studio, but at the same time, just depending on what you're trying to do with the podcast, you need one. Especially if you're having people on, they kind of feel more comfortable with you. Like, all right, I'm at this spot. This is what we're gonna record. It's at this studio. It just seemed way more official and professional too. On top of that, so
yeah, especially when it's not, like it's once it get outside of your circle, then it's like, do I want all these people to know where I stay?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Safety of family and yourself and all of that stuff. So yeah, it just worked out, man. It was a good space, and like we were building, and it was like we were kind of like everybody was new to it, so we were like all starting this thing together. So the energy was there, and then just collaborating and having somebody else to do it because it was just us.
Yeah.
Like it was just the two of us doing everything. So
Just happens to be other people that was on the same tip. You know what I'm saying? Let's
yeah,
trying to move in the same way. And that once again it goes back to like how we said, Combat Jack, rest in peace. Definitely influential on my end because I remember even telling people the story. I'm like, yeah, the first I had saw episodes online being posted and just being spread around like through blogs maybe or just through I guess I don't want to say word of mouth because clearly it's the internet, but just seeing people like share this and I'm like, what's a podcast? You know what I'm saying? Just hearing about it. And then I want to say it was that Dame Dash episode. It went for like damn near 3 hours, if not that.
yeah.
And I'm like,
And
damn.
I've been listening to Combat since like 2011.
Word.
And it was like I got hip to it from just following Rap Radar and visiting the site, and I think it might have been like the first one I saw was like it was either Joe Budden or a Fabulous interview, and it was just to listen to it, and it still wasn't the concept of it was a podcast. I just thought it was an online radio show.
Yeah.
And so, and it wasn't until, just like listening, and I think I paid attention that he said something about like podcasts in reference to like the podcast app or something like that. And so that's when it just kind of like was like, okay, it's a thing. And then you start to hear about others, and like the Reed popped up.
Yep.
And you find out like, Juan Epstein kind of does stuff I like. So these are the ones that I have been listening to the longest.
And then next, you listen to about 10. Like you got a whole...
Yeah, trying to. I can't even keep up, man. I used to be weekly. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll be tuning in every week. There's certain ones I can kind of keep up with on that, but other ones I'm just kind of like I just get into a binge where, like, let me catch up on these. Like I got some time to blow. So.
Yeah, man, that's where it's at. Cause my list is grown. I'm just like, I don't even know which one it is now. It's about which ones I really want to hear. Like, all right, what they talking about? All right, cool. I'm gonna check it out. You know what I'm saying? I even narrow it down sometimes the quality. Like, all right, I like how this one sound. Let me just go ahead and rock with this one because there's so many now. Like everybody doing it, and it's like everybody's still figuring it out. Like that leads me to my next question. Like, how do you feel about the future of podcasting? Like as of now, especially with the Pods in Color hashtag. Shout out to what is it? Barry? Not, I don't want to say Barry.
Yeah, her name Barry, but she be so irritating sometimes.
Why you say that?
Like, just with how she be tripping about the hashtag, and it's like, man, just retweet it. Like, nobody.
You can't post it if it's not you. If it's not you promoting the podcast, don't put this. Like, don't say pod.
Yeah,
man.
Come on, man. Like, just come on.
For listeners of the Lead and Be Legendary podcast, Vinyl Me Please is a Vinyl Record of the Month club. One of the dopest record clubs, in fact. Every month, Vinyl Me Please features one album that is essential to the modern vinyl collection and sends it out to thousands of members worldwide. So basically what's done is they celebrate one dope vinyl record every month and deliver an exclusive pressing of it right to your door. They'll also include an original 12x12 album-inspired artwork and a cocktail recipe to sweeten the deal even more. What else is included? You get special edition vinyl records you're not going to get anywhere else, flat out. Get it? Because vinyl was flat? All right, whatever. When they say special edition, it means exactly that. Vinyl Me works closely with both the record label and artists to come up with something you actually can't find anywhere else. So I'm talking colored vinyl, custom lyric books, exclusive artwork, personal notes from the artist, and much more. The only thing that you won't have a surprise for each month is how much you end up just vibing to the music, obviously though. As far as the membership, it has flexible and easy memberships that work for you. We know that trusting someone else, well, I guess that kind of depends on who they are, but trusting someone else to curate or let's just say put together your record collection can turn out kind of whack. You've had your whole life to fine-tune your taste, and we certainly don't want to get in the way of that. That's why they have swaps. At Vinyl Me Please, with swaps, you can exchange a feature record with one from the VMP archive or a limited set of store titles. This way, even though you're trying new things, you won't be forced to take a title you already have or know in advance it isn't right for you. That plus, there's no contract, no strings, no guilt trips. You really can cancel at any time. There's no hidden fees either. and most importantly, top shelf customer service to make sure you get the answers and help you need as soon as humanly possible. To join their record club, go to www.joinvmp.com/LABL. Again, that's www.joinvmp.com/LABL to join Vinyl Me Please today. The link is in the episode's description.
But I mean, I think I think it's growing for sure. Like just as much as technology is growing, like like the newer the cars come, like the podcast is there, like with the touch screens.
Yeah.
And like that app is in the car now. It's compatible with all the devices now, and just playing it on the TV. You can play it through headphones. You can play it, everywhere. Like you can even do it on the jailbroke Fire Stick. Like
Damn.
you can listen to podcasts. So I mean, it's growing. I think the content will get a little more deeper, like especially in like podcasts of color. Like a lot of podcasts in color are just doing like point of views, and like that's cool, but like everybody is kind of
that lane.
You lose your voice in that. Yeah, that's the voice, but that's the lane. But everybody wants to like pop off that. So like you want to somebody like it's too many people sounding like Charlemagne.
Yeah.
Like, it's too many people sounding like academics, or people sounding like Kid Fury and Crystals, versus like creating their own voice.
Exactly.
So I think the things that take it to the next level, and I think we talked about it, is like what Combat Jack did with Mogul.
Right. Exactly.
And like with those, because that crosses the lines. Like that's like those stories are the crossover for podcasts, like how music has crossover hits. So because like Serial is the podcast that got everybody, like white people, black people, kind of into it. And so in Serial is just like basically an audio book telling a story week by week, chapter by chapter. And so they have the sequel for Serial now that you can start listening to. And so they were talking about it on the radio as like conversation pieces. This was like 11, 12 too, like 2011, 2012. But I think having like the African American storytelling, like whether it be, like audio paid in full week by week, or something like that will be like the next thing.
There's even like I know Lisa. No, I was about to say Lisa Ray. Issa Rae got another one out that's I forget what it's called. I want to say Fruit or something like that, where it's like an audio. It's a story basically. It's scripted pretty much, and I guess if Insecure was in audio form only, that's basically what it would be.
Yes, I think storytelling is like the next thing, just because it opens up a whole bunch of stuff, and like once you figure out how to write that script, and it filters out for quality, because you can't just throw that shit out.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you can't freestyle a script. You know what I'm saying? So you can't improv a script, and I think that'll help filter out like what's good and what's bad, and then people can kind of turn that into something more visual and digital online, and turn it to scripts, and just kind of help with the streams of income that started out as a podcast. So the first podcast that goes into a real TV show, not like what Nori is, but with the scripted one that turns into a TV show, just like a book turns into a TV show. I think that's the move.
And how do you feel about cause I'll give an example. Basically, I heard I want to say, was this the Combat Jack show where they were live? I know Angela Rye was on there. She kind of got her new one now. And she made a mention of saying that she don't even follow podcasts. She's not even really just into it like that. She's doing one because somebody convinced her to do it. And I'm kind of thinking like, well, how do you... It's almost like saying, well, yo, I rap, but I don't really know about no other rappers. I couldn't even tell you about them.
It's a lot of people like that, though, because they're just using it as a platform. It's just a form of promotion now.
Word.
Like, it's to get your POV, and people. It's really the setup for... It's your audition tape.
Okay.
So people are doing it as a form of broadcasting. And, she knows people listen to her and people want to, like, hear her. But that's the difference between, like, her and then, like, us starting up, is that we still have to identify what our voice is, whether she already has one. So you have to convince people on why they should listen to you. and what your following is.
That's real.
So why they should follow you. But like, it's just an audition tape because I hear that more than not. Like people just know like it's ears to people and they have a following, so they just kind of using that to feed their fan base.
True indeed.
For whatever reason.
She already know people gonna just check for her anyway. Like, okay, what's she talking about? Let me go see what Angela's saying, and she can go.
Yeah.
She could definitely go. It's crazy because even with that, like everybody's trying it out now. Is what I'm saying. Like podcasting, it's not just oh, what is it anymore? People hearing the word. Like I put it on Facebook. Like anybody talking about starting a podcast, and immediately people, yeah, I am. I thought about it, but how do I do it? It's like, oh wow, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
because you can do it right on the phone.
Exactly.
Like it's an app. You know what I'm saying? Like to really do everything. Like Anchor does everything for you. Like it makes the feed. It'll get it on iTunes.
Background music, all of that.
Yeah.
So. But what's interesting about that is they got it's coming up, I want to say January 6th of this year, 2018. It's going to be, it's Free Podcast Day in Royal Oak. I forget the location, but it's more details to it on Facebook. That's where I saw it. Shout out to Dean, too, Dean Garcia, for even tagging me in that, because I was looking like, wow, okay. But basically they're allowing you, and they do it once every quarter. So they're allowed, no, my bad. It's every month on the first Saturday. I said that wrong. But you can only try it out once every quarter. And they allow you to try out like the studio equipment and actually record a podcast for like ranging anywhere from about 30 to 60 minutes, basically.
Interesting.
So it's like for people that's trying to figure it out and just want to know, well, how do I go about doing this?
Is this the guy from that show? Not that show, I'm sorry. The guy from what was that?
Talking about the panel that we did where we was at it.
Yeah.
I think so, because when I saw it was in Royal Oak, I'm like, okay, this might be the place. I think they run the IT and the D, I want to say, but I thought that immediately when I saw that it was in Royal Oak, I said this might be it, or what they were saying, like we got a studio you can book. So I'm like, maybe they just trying it out now. Like, well, hey, let's just make it for free at least once every month. And get people familiar with like what podcasting really is, or just even recording their own show. So
yeah, they trying to get people to book in there though.
That's really a sales pitch. Like, yeah, this is the studio, and everybody, well, look, can I record out of it? It's a smart move. I wasn't mad at it. Yeah. I said okay, because my boy tagged me, and I said I don't necessarily want to go because I already get what it is. I know what they're doing. Like, yo, let's have people come here and. Not to shit on them or nothing, but let's have people come here and test it out. And if they like it, then they're going to want to book here because we allowed them to do it for free. So,
yeah,
because they're not going to tell you about the apps. They're not going to let you know, like, we're how easy it is to do it now. They're just going to be like, you need to pay here. But even circling back to, like, Audio Wave, you kind of, like, talked about it as far as, like, how the relationship got established, just, you knowing somebody that worked with them. But just seeing that grow, because me personally, I found out about not necessarily Audio Wave, but NWP just based off listening to your podcast. And I want to say it was an episode that you had with them featured on there.
Yeah.
So that's
it wasn't the whole crew. It was just like a couple people hanging around. So we just was kicking it. And that episode only happened, like we wanted to, the plan was to try to like hook up with everybody on the network. Mm-hmm. But, like, that episode happened because somebody canceled on me. And they was there. So it was like, well, let's not waste it.
Even like, with how it's crazy how it works, because even with podcasting, like, that got me, obviously because I rap too, but that ended up getting me, the feature on, like I always tell people about Is the Mic Still On podcast. I ended up landing a feature just doing the intro to that. So that kind of bugged me out. I'm like, wow, because I would listen to yours and I would listen to NWP's, and y'all got the intro, my man's and them rapping in the beginning.
Yeah.
And I would always say to myself, I said, well, I think that's dope that they got that, but the suggestion would always be brought up that I rap on my own. And I'm like, nah, that's corny. I ain't doing that at all. But when I got approached about it, but to do somebody else's, I'm like, all right. Oh, that's crazy. Podcasts are just opening up these doors just for other relationships. Hell, like even with the panel. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy how it opened up these relationships, because it's just basically a podcast that just gives you this voice. You know what I'm saying? Like you mentioned earlier, just give you this voice to kind of give your opinion, your point of views. People interested in that because they feel like they know you. How you feel about everyday struggle, like where that's going right now with Joe just kind of upping and leaving. Was you playing the piano? What is that?
No, that's a TV, man. But
nice on the keys, huh?
Man, it hurts, man, because I enjoy the show.
Yeah.
I don't really have a reason to like watch it, unfortunately.
I feel bad about that part. Because it's like, it's steady episodes, it's steady dropping. I'm like, why are they doing this? Like, why are they still trying?
Well, they gotta keep it going just because, like that's the game. But I mean, they gonna hurt for sure because then it's basically starting over. Like, a whole guest thing isn't what people watch the show for. Like, they didn't have guests that much for it to matter like that. And then just like whoever they bring on there, like academics has to figure out that chemistry, and then they have to be as polarizing as Joe.
Yeah, which probably ain't gonna happen.
No, to be a consistent thing, I don't see it.
I seen an episode with Rhapsody on there, and I said, I really want to check this out. I said, but it's not just gonna be what I expected to be. It's not gonna Joe ain't interviewing her.
Yeah, it wasn't what it could have been, but I did check that one out. Like it was a cool little thing, but like you missed that. Like it's not what you watched the show for.
It's lacking edge now.
Yeah, because like Joe was the artist, and so like they could have different conversations. So
yeah, exactly. You kind of, and that's another lane that got opened up with him and Nori. You know what I'm saying? It kind of made it. I keep saying this, like, I think there needs to be more artists, based podcasts. Like, depending on who the artist is, though, you can't just have that artist that just like, I don't want nobody on and I don't care. That's what made Joe and like Nori's whole thing is we're celebrating like the legends in the game, and then you got Joe where it's like he's gonna have people on if he's interested in that particular artist, wanting to hear their story or compare stories. So I just think that's good to have that. I think even, Detroit, I think that'd be dope if more artists did that.
Yeah.
I want to figure out a way to make it happen. Even if it's producers, DJs, whatever, like it needs to happen.
Yeah, what's the name of, I think, the Connected Experience is doing a good job of that.
Yeah, I like their podcast. I definitely like how they tie it in.
Yeah.
They somehow know how to do that without even mentioning anything in pop culture.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Like, theirs is dope. So that's one that I check out every time for sure.
Yeah. Yep. The way they just got it set up is to me is flawless. I'm like, okay, I fucks with this. So we got 2018. This is the one I was waiting to ask you about because obviously so much music came. It seemed like everybody dropped who was a big name in 2017 when it came to hip-hop releases. And I'm kind of wondering, like, well, who's really left to drop in 2018? I mean, I could think of a few artists, but how do you feel about going into this year now? How do you feel about hip-hop as a whole, or the music that's been released and what's expected to come out?
Well, 2017 was a great year for music all the way around.
I agree.
I don't know. 2018, I'm not even thinking about it. I know Shine is coming back, but I don't know how to feel about that right now.
Wait, Shine? Like, or
Big Shine. Big Shine.
Oh, okay,
Big Shine. But I don't know how to feel about that. I think Drake got to do something 2018. But it's going to be more, I think the women, this might be the shift in culture for like women having the big albums, because it's going to be Nicki, it's going to be Remy, the long-awaited Cardi B album.
Right. Do you feel like she should really drop one though? I think she could just keep it going with singles.
No, she got to, just because that's what the old formula is. I think the album will fizzle out. I think some people just need to be single artists. Like i.e., like I think Fat Joe is a single artist now.
Right.
But like people can just live good off singles, and I think they just need to like accept that. But it's just what the like the old mechanics of music, and people think that the album has to drop. But Cardi has to do it just because of like how it's built up.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, if she came out only dropping singles, she would have been fine. But, like, she had the mixtapes. And so, like, you have to graduate.
Yeah. You done did those now. That's a full body of work. So show what you can really do with an album.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe they're just, or whatever they call it now. What are they, playlists? Is that what they call them now? Like, they ain't albums no more, it's just a playlist.
That's what they sound like. But we'll see, though. But I think she had, like, you know, she'll have to drop something. Because if she don't, then she'll be young in May. So.
Oh, man. Which, who knows? She might have a standout 2018. We don't know. We shall see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Pretty excited about it because this gonna be a hard year to follow up because a lot of good shit came out.
Yeah, and I think it'll be room for like surprises, but I think it'll be more female heavy.
Yeah.
For whatever happens, like just because they're kind of leading the forefront of everything. Like even like Cash Doll is in conversations now after her feature on Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
And, so I think it'll be more girls coming out, and it'll look more like what the male side of hip hop look like.
Right. I can see that. It makes sense. Now that leads me to the next topic pretty much because you do this which was From Scratch Podcast is known for, the From Scratch 5. I'm gonna bring it over here to the Lead and Be Legendary Podcast, and we want to know who are your top 5. I'm gonna say spitters. I ain't gonna even say rappers because we got this whole thing with Black Thought just blazing the internet. They even dropped a little non-official mixtape on it just because the shit was so fire.
I don't know how he did it,
man.
Because he didn't he didn't pause. Like he talked 10 minutes.
Breath control, straight. Amazing.
Yes,
ridiculous. He been doing that though. He been doing that, so we ain't surprised.
It's just crazy to watch, like with no pauses. Like
I might have to watch it again tonight, man. Cause that's all. This dude really went 10 minutes, man. Just going. Man. But who we got? From Scratch top 5 spitters.
Like right now or period?
Now. I'm saying now. That make it harder because then when you say period, it's like it's easy. You already got like your 3 in the bag. We gonna say now.
Now, Crit.
Okay.
Sci-Hi the Prince.
Nice.
I'm gonna go with my dog, Tristan Knight.
Wait, who?
Tristan Knight, formerly Acapella.
I'm gonna have to check that out. I may have heard that name.
That's who did the intro on our show.
Okay.
Trying to think, just because you said spitter specifically. Who was I listening to? I'm gonna cheat just since they just put it out.
Both of them together? You gonna do that? Is that possible? Like
that's 4 and 5. That was 4 and 5.
Oh, okay, both of them. I thought you were saying together. Then say, well, let me pick okay, I see what you're saying. How you feel about that album? You feel that was a good one?
It let me down. In full honesty, yeah, because we expected it to be. So this is what I figured out. Like you can tell what Jada picked, and you can tell what Fabs picked. Like Soul Food is what you wanted the whole album to be, and so secretly you just wanted it to be soul tapes featuring Jadakiss. And like everybody would have been happy, but it wasn't that. It was just it was too many. Like most of the hooks were suspect and trash. So, but it was cool for what it was. They was on there rapping. So if you wanted that, you got that. But
exactly,
it wasn't all what
Yeah, because I felt when I listened to it, I'm like, it's like, yeah, they rapping. I'm getting the punchlines I expect, but this probably should have. I always say shit just could have been an EP. It could have been an EP. We ain't need, even though they had like a solid maybe 11, it still could have been trimmed down. They could have gave us 6. I'd have been like, all right, we good.
And it made it tougher just because we waited so long. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Exactly. Long in this day and age, because it was probably about maybe a year and a half, but still.
Yeah, for what that's just talking about it. So yeah, exactly. That was that.
Overall, though, how's 2018 looking for you? Just like, got any like particular goals set? Like, obviously we know, like you say, bringing the podcast back, but just overall, like, what is looking like for you?
Just trying to produce some stuff, some like YouTube shows, like a little more visual stuff.
Okay.
So like kind of shifting gears to that. Just like putting productions together.
Okay. Content, as always.
More
Creator,
content.
man. Definitely. That's where it's at, man. One more time, because I appreciate you for even taking the time to just come on to this show. I'm still small. I'm still building. I'm still in the building stages. This is what, episode
100?
29? Nah. We'll be there probably about 2019, because I'm cooking. I did this one today. I think prior to this, I had one. There's going to be an episode with DDT, of course. I'm getting him on more. That's going to come out before this one. So I was supposed to do 2 in one day, but I was like, let me calm down. I don't want to burn out in the first quarter of the year. You know what I'm saying? So
I understand, man.
So where we at? We don't want to burn out. He's not had nobody else to get on. But drop your social media, man, where they can find you at.
Yeah, man, at Curve Gotti, CurvGotti. Follow the From Scratch podcast on all platforms, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, SoundCloud, all of that good stuff, man. And shout out Name Tag for the love, man, and just having me on, bro.
Man, I appreciate it, man. I'm gonna have this up pretty soon. It's gonna be it's about to be January now. I'm gonna have it up in January.
Okay, yeah, for sure. Just let me know, and I'll blast it out.
I'm gonna promote it like it's a mixtape. That's how I'm doing now. I'm promoting the episodes before they drop. like this a single? Yeah, that's how we looking at it.
That work, man. As long as you got it in the can. So
you know it.